Good morning. Glad you could join us. And so I dug this book off my shelf. I've got a lot of books, and sometimes it's kind of fun to try to find them. For this one, it's called Grace Notes by Philip Yancey, and it's got 365 readings, daily readings. And I just finished the Bob Goff one, and I just thought, oh, I should pull this one out. I was looking all over my office, all over, and then I realized it was right next to where I started in the first place. I just didn't look well enough. But people ask me who my favorite author or authors are. Philip Yancey is definitely, he's in the Mount Rushmore, but he hasn't written anything for a while. But then when I thought about him, found out he's got a memoir coming out, and he actually has another book that's already been published. One of my buddies from high school, TJ, his sister works for Philip Yancey, so very excited to, it's going to be waiting for me when I get home. I have one book waiting. So he talks about when he moved to Colorado, and he discovered that they've got a real issue with noxious weeds. I don't know exactly what noxious weeds are, but I've always found most weeds to be obnoxious. And they're not welcome out there because they're just really killing a lot of the other stuff. They're choking out the life. There's dandelions. I can remember when I was 5 years old. Coming home this one day, I plucked about 4 or 5 yellow dandelions, gave them to my mom, and felt like I was really giving her something nice. And she didn't say, son, these are weeds. Nope, she just put them in a little glass, and they sat there on the counter for a few days. A few other varieties here, ox-eye daisy, Russian thistle, and toadflax are spreading like botanical viruses in my part of the state, threatening a lot of the natural survival of the species that they have. So he wanted to be a good citizen, so he gets this weed picker thing, and then in the afternoon, he has an office in his home. He's a writer, he's a journalist. He goes for a walk, and when he's out there, he prays and he picks the weeds, and he kind of feels like he's doing a good thing, and a pretty nice place to walk and pray. I think he's pretty close to Estes Park, nice place to do it. And then one day, his wife went walking with him, and she was really good at spotting the weeds too, and so between the two of them, they're just getting weeds left, center, and right. But she did something that he had neglected to do. He was so focused on the weeds, he didn't notice the 20 varieties of wildflowers that were growing out there. The irony of it was, that's what he was trying to save. The reason he was picking the weeds wasn't just as a in and of itself activity, it was to save the wildflowers. You ever come across some wildflowers out in the middle of nowhere? It's just like, oh my goodness, these things are beautiful. Then he realized that that's kind of like, he's out there praying, but that's kind of how his prayer life sometimes is too. He just kind of comes to God with this tangled mess, like all these weeds, like, God, here's my problems, fix them. Instead of focusing on, God, you're awesome. Look at your beautiful creation. Giving thanks for all the things that we do have and not focusing on what we don't have. And so it was a real lesson for him, and just kind of an ironic eye-opener when his wife went out with him, that his focus wasn't right with the weeds, but he took it a step deeper, and it's like, you know, my prayer life, it's not focused properly all the time. He acknowledged, and he's just gut level honest, a lot of my prayers, he said, are pretty selfish. And I think that's true for a lot of us in some way, shape, or form. It's something that we want to see happen. But then he also said, I get impatient. It's like, God, come on. Chop, chop. Let's get this done. I'm putting words in his mouth. He didn't say the chop, chop. But I think we can identify with that. Then he read something from somebody from the 18th century, Jean-Nicolas Gros, who said that healthy prayer should be humble, reverent, loving, confident, and persevering. And then he goes on to say, in other words, the exact opposite of impatient, the exact opposite of how I was praying is what he said. God bless you as you just allow God to grow your prayer life. And don't focus so much on the weeds. Focus on the beauty, the glory of God, and the many things to be grateful for. Have a great day.